Sáquenme la botella que funda pa' gastarle. Esta noche tú y yo nos vivimos la película. Luces, cámara, la acción, después en mi recámara. En el duelo no se sabe quién ganará. So baile, baby, es ese booty retrocede. Que me encanta la manera en que tú lo mueves.
Solo pégate un poquito pa' mí, que yo quiero enseñarte lo que yo tengo pa' ti. Lo que tengo pa' ti. Sé que te va a encantar como meto yo.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Primetime Studios. Like always, I'm your host, Primetime Phil, and like always, our co-host, or I'm just gonna say host because you're no longer the co-host. You're just there. Gametime, you're like the furniture in the background. You're right there, man. But anyway, so Bryan, welcome back as we push forward. We're trying to get more videos on this channel as we go forward because obviously things are picking up, whether it's the mini camps, whether it was the draft a little bit while ago, whether it's the training camps coming on and those voluntary workouts. But either way, man, it's picking up, whether it's belief, hate, whatever it is. It's a new NFL season I want to say right around the corner, but by the time you know it, it's here, man. So, Bryan, how have you been, sir?
I'm doing great, man. Listen, the draft is over. We are doing our best to be positive. The schedule came out. We're going to break down some of the roster additions, maybe some of the things to look for as we go into training camp. But I'm doing good, man. I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm very excited.
Definitely.
I don't know if you saw, there's been a lot of people that have been way high, sky high about the Dallas Cowboys. Did you see the Ryan Clark prediction?
Yes, I saw that one. Yeah, and it sucks when the media gets behind us. I'm going to be real, just because then that's usually where the other fan base gets, get irritated with us. Oh, they think they're going to win. Nah, that's more media. You know how everything's like a media driven, but when it comes to this we haven't really been able to talk a lot about that stuff. So I think it's great that you're bringing that up, because there is a lot to get hyped about of this team, and it's understandable. As you and I make these kind of predictions, we weren't jumping up there in the 12-win type of categories, but we were hovering around there, and a playoff type of team, a contender at least. Not to say you're there yet or any of that stuff, but obviously no team is perfect once you're going making that final push. Whether it's injuries, whether it's anything that's kind of being an obstacle in your way. Nowadays you never know where there could be a suspension or something like that either as well. But anyways, as you're pushing through, nothing's perfect. And so to make those improvements from something you found yourself very weak to last year, and of course the number one weak thing that we had was our defense. And with that defense came a coaching staff that was just stubborn to change and stubborn to kind of make adapting their defense to what they had personnel-wise. I mean, I totally understand that Eberflus's defense was probably very complex, but when it comes to the guys that not being able to understand it, it really showed out in the field. So having those weaknesses, how do you feel with the Dallas Cowboys and how they approach this offseason compared to previous years?
Well, obviously you brought up Eberflus from last year. I didn't hate the move, because he was a familiar face who had success at multiple places. That was my argument last year regarding Eberflus. But again, time flies, everybody. Matt Eberflus was a colossal failure in his last year as a head coach, the last year and a half as a head coach in Chicago. I think he's a good coach. Something happened. There was something lost in translation with these players last year on the Dallas Cowboys. Time moves fast in the NFL, Phil, and for some reason it didn't work. He didn't communicate. Nobody got better under him. It was a failure.
I feel like everybody had their worst NFL year, in general.
Yeah, it was a failure. It's hard to look back and go, well, what positives were there? There weren't any, okay? And
so
yet,
when you come to that,
some big moments throughout the year.
When you come to that move, I think what was positive about it is that in previous Cowboy years, they would have dragged out that laying that defensive coordinator off, the coaching staff that may have been behind it, but it wasn't. It was one of those things where you heard about the 2-week possibility. Within a couple of days, boom, it happened. Now, I'm gonna keep pointing this out. This is gonna be a theme throughout this kind of show here. Now, do you believe that is the Joneses or influenced by Schottenheimer?
influenced by Schottenheimer, and to me, it's a two-pronged question, in my opinion. The Joneses said, Schott, even though they fired back right during the initial press conference this year, well, you were on board with Eberflus. Well, you got to put yourself back in the situation. They're giving Brian Schottenheimer, a guy who's been longing to be a head coach in the NFL, his first opportunity. He is going to run the offense. They gave him carte blanche on the offense. They were like, of course, he was a kid in a candy store. If somebody offered you your dream job, Phil, and they said, yeah, but you can't touch this part of it. Well, I think it's hard for Shotty last year to say, I don't want the job then. No, that wasn't going to happen, Phil. So regardless of what the Jones says, he was a Jones hire. Steven and Jerry, they felt comfortable. He did have success. But a year later, you could argue the degree of the Dallas Cowboys offense, right? We could argue. We know they were very good, right? We know statistically they were third in the league in offense, but they have shortcomings. But they are an elite offense. Shortcomings in the red zone. Hopefully they can get that.
Shortcomings even getting going in the game sometimes. Those first drive or two, you don't know the prediction. Yep, you know what you got. You know what you got.
He earned his stripes as a play caller under the Dallas Cowboys, and they're like, oh, shit. All right, we see what you did with George Pickens, a guy who was they were laughed at for going out and getting him last year. So,
well, even the moves when you saw throughout the year with CD and Pickens and that disciplinary whole thing for the first drive, and then you got to go back to Diggs, and that whole situation of the not trainings and not listening to your coach in the sense of coming back. Oh, I'm going to stay where we're at, and I'm going to go ahead and enjoy stuff with my brother, and it's just like, yeah, you kind of had this, hey, I got paid and I don't need to worry about anything else, and now really. I haven't seen him get grabbed by anyone else other than Green Bay in that original thing. So I'm interested. There's a lot of stars out there. So to make that move, to make that disciplinary move, especially with a star on your team, I think that, again, says a lot about the coaching staff. Now, again, we don't know what his legacy eventually will be here in Dallas. But, again, you're making decisions that, let's be real, a father should make. Those are the type of things where you're seeing somebody misbehave and you're just like, look, man, I can't just let that go. I got to say something, and I think that's what, as much as he's coaching, he's also doing the father thing as well. But when you're talking about offense, all the moves, coaching staff, I kind of want to shift over because I think that, to me, the excitement is stuff, and I know a lot of fans out there that aren't Dallas Cowboy fans aren't excited about this move, but, with us, it is. Parker coming over from, of course, the Eagles, not the greatest thing in the sense that, makes me feel like, oh, he's going to bring that defense over here. It is what it is. They succeeded very well, and they have an amazing defense of stars that they've piled up to be able to push that defense. And I think, it sucks that that's where it's got to come from the source, but at the same time, they found success with it, and you can't argue with success. And I think that's kind of the same layer that you've been kind of pushing across here in the sense of, hey, you can't deny the history that he's had and some of the coaching staffs that he's kind of been around, even in Denver itself. So with Christian Parker, the defensive basically coach, whether it's the line coach, the secondary coach, how did you like that moving and shifting before we even got players?
Yeah, first, the whole Christian Parker, we were all on the Denver Broncos.
Yep.
What was his name? It's funny how
he's no longer a candidate. We've kind of forgotten. Yeah. I don't even remember anymore.
But anyway, we were on the Denver. Put it in the chat, people. We were on the Denver Broncos assistant, right? And listen, that's how you got to trust the process. My Sixers fans loves that. Trust the process. But they actually did. Christian Parker, I believe, was the last candidate they interviewed, and I think. I'm not positive, but I mean, once they interviewed him, he jumped to the top. I know the Eagles weren't happy that they plucked him from in division. And listen,
it's understandable.
I know there's a world where Dallas does well this year, and let's say the Eagles don't, and he's going to have an opportunity maybe to go back and be the head coach of the Eagles. I mean, I know that it's far-fetched, but not really. And that would be interesting if he would even consider that. But getting back to your question, I like it. Again, we're getting away from what they want. I mean, obviously Christian Parker, if you're talking about him specifically, he wants what he wants, and I've made like a couple videos this week. He needs a certain body type. He wants a certain edge rusher, which is why Clowney's not going to be brought back. He can't stand up. Jadeveon Clowney is a hand in the dirt type of guy, not athletic to do what Christian Parker wants to do. We'll see if it's going to work here. But I'm very excited to finally answer your question. I'm excited about this coaching staff. Again, a lot of moving parts, Phil. So,
yeah,
so
you need
far,
a lot of things. You need a lot of things to come together. But I swear,
Yeah.
even with the improvements, with the talent base that you've been able to at least bring in there should be somewhat of an improvement compared to 30th in the league. And so and then of course having a coach that's kind of let's be real, basically very obsessive in the sense that they want to get things right. If things aren't working right, and you can't just go out there and pluck people off, because I mean, how many stars defensively are still out there? That you would just go out there. I mean, Kenny Moore is a guy that the people have been talking about in the sense of the secondary. But when it looks like the other ones, I think the secondary coach, when he comes from Arizona, I think that was a good pickup as well too. Possible defensive coordinator in his future, not as quickly as Parker, for example, in this sense. But you can hear when he talks, he just has that swagger about him as well. I'm interested to see if he has that football mind.
Yeah, when you hear Christian Parker talk, and Dallas has had this in the past, not recently. I would say under Parcells it was pretty good. With Carthon and company. But when the Eagles put together a structure, it really does work from the top down. And the coaching staff sometimes. We saw like McCarthy is good about bringing in his buddies. Everybody wants their buddies, but you need to be a good coach. That's what was kind of impressive, because Christian Parker didn't just go and pluck every coach he wanted from his, the Eagles. They actually went around and looked into the college ranks and brought up some guys. I was just very impressed with not so much what happened, but the fact that the Joneses allowed this to happen. This is not typical of what Dallas does. They allow the head coach. They gave him a year. He showed that we can trust Schottenheimer to call plays in the NFL, and this was Schotty's guy. He wowed everybody, but for however long he's going to be here, I know he's going to have success. We all want a lot of wins this year, Phil. I get it. I brought that up though, about a lot of the mainstream predictions, just because it's just not coming from Homer Cowboy fans. Yeah, some may be trolling, but the optimism is sky high with Dallas. But let's be clear here, right? In the words of Mark,
a lot of growing pains they're going to need to go through. Yeah,
there's a lot of moving parts that have to all come together at one time, and that's why I was just like, calm down, everybody. Thank you, Tony Boo, with the super chat.
Hit the like.
He starts to come and then he pulls out.
Wow. Thank you. Far too kind.
Pow, right in the kitchen.
Thanks, Frank.
Thank you
Thanks,
very
Tony Boo.
much. Appreciate the $5 super chat. Thank you.
Yes. So, the Christian Parker was a good hire, but there are a lot of question marks.
Yeah, in general, because
We're excited. That's
I
okay.
know the defensive line coach, everybody's hyping on him. I still want to see that whole thing kind of start to play out. I know you have some really good talent. You added some stuff in the sense of trading next year's 4th round pick for Rashawn Gary, a pick that you needed. You needed more pass rushing. You needed more consistency. I'm not to say that he's going to bring it, but the level of competition that you're bringing, all the guys that you're bringing in, you're hoping that we're going to be able to at least start to put some pressure on the quarterback, because I think that was a big thing that you weren't seeing until Clowney came in, and then you were seeing some guys. I mean, you got James Houston, of course, that was doing his thing, but not getting enough playing time. So probably going to help. Probably was the biggest splash when it came to free agency, other than Thompson, I guess. With that, I think just being able to be aggressive, and I don't want to say super aggressive, because obviously the whole Crosby thing and how they were trying to go out for that and everything. But what would have happened if they would have signed it? Would all the other moves kind of just fallen off the page? You wouldn't have gotten Thompson. So I think there's a lot of stuff, what ifs, but it could have gone the other way as well too. As I know that we didn't get particular talent. Oh, these weren't the top elite guys, but at least you got a couple of them. And I think that's something comparable to last year's, where I feel like we're always just scraping the bottom of the clearance rack. And so at least this year you feel like you got some pieces, you got some depth, to this team, where you're talking about Jonathan Bullard. I think that's a name that you got to throw in there to the depth itself. Of course, when you're looking at Kobe Durant in the secondary, you're looking at depth pieces possibly going to contribute majorly in the nickel formation, depending on how they start rotating these safeties around. So I think there's a lot of move and a lot of focus on the defensive side. Now, Brian, compared to last year, compared to the people that have left, obviously a lot of new starters. There are going to be a couple of them that are going to be coming back. How do you feel about the roster they put together on the defense? Do you feel like they could have been more aggressive, or do you feel like, hey, you got what you could get?
I always feel like we could be more aggressive. So I loved what they did, but again, I look at it this way. Coaching matters, but you need good players, right? I mean, it's good to have coaching, and I think coaching can get the most out of your talent. But at the end of the day, I think talent ultimately wins. So I think I would like to have a little more, like I did a video on it. I think that if I have a question, my main question still lies with the corners. So I would have liked, and maybe they will, add another veteran piece, maybe via trade. I know they were trying to they were talking about trading Cavante Turpin, 3-time Pro Bowler, a kick return. Again, it's nice having Cavante, so I'm not trying to run him out of here. I kind of feel like maybe him worrying about receiving last year kind of took away from maybe his returning. But I would say I would have liked
the fact that he did 2 fair catch runs
to replace
pisses me off.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think like another corner. I know we got a lot of bodies there. I know we did. I'm not here to poo-poo the guys we got from the Rams. PJ Locke is going to be more of a safety. But Savon Ravel, there's a lot on this young kid's shoulders. And we're hearing mixed signals coming out that he's still messing with the knee brace. So, again, that's not great, Phil. I mean, I'm just saying, I know we got plenty of time. I'm not trying to put up the red flags, but Savon Ravel is a starter right now. So, I would have liked to have had one more piece in the secondary.
If you were about to go through, and let's say Ravel wasn't there, I'm thinking you're looking at Bland, Durant, and then Downs kind of thing.
Yeah, we have bodies, but you want to feel warm.
Oh yeah, definitely. You need depth. You need your depth. I mean? Yeah, exactly. Especially going into the season.
Cuddle. You don't want to have to rely on a Kyrie Elam. You know what I mean? Like we were doing. So, and I'm not saying we're at that situation, but
no. But when you look at it as well, I think that kind of opens the door for the next wave of what we're talking about here, in the sense of that defense. The defense where you go and you get free agents and you try to fill in where you can. To me, a Bobby Wagner's still out there. I know they're not probably big on him. I'm not really sure what their thoughts are. I hear different things. But the fact that you go out into this draft, you let the draft gods kind of allow things to kind of happen. And of course, Caleb Downs falls to you at 11, 12 possibly. I don't know what Miami was thinking, but it doesn't matter to me. Again, those 5th rounds easily are expendable when it comes to a talent like that, and you're hoping, of course, that it translates into the NFL. On paper, looks amazing. You're going into the 1st round. A lot of people not happy about the 2nd first-round draft pick, but when you're talking about the level of talent there and what we were talking about going into the draft, again, how are you feeling about Malachi Lawrence now compared to what was there? What was there? Kendrick Falk, things like that. I mean, how are you feeling about the talent that they got?
To shout out to Football Fanatic, Joe Tranchina from Italy. What's up, brother? My dog's barking. Joe Tranchina says, the only draft choice I like is Caleb Downs. We should have drafted a better player with our 23rd pick in the 1st round. We left a lot of good talent on the board. I would say, Joe, I think they left a lot of a talent that the media scouts were telling you were good, right? I think when you look down, Christian Parker was talking about Malachi Lawrence as a guy that they really wanted to have coming out of this draft. They were going to take him at 20. Now, we could argue maybe trading down a little longer. They got word that he wasn't lasting. Again, Joe, I would tell you.
Well, when you look at
Malachi
Peter
Lawrence,
Woods coming off the board,
yeah,
I was expecting
I like
that.
Peter Woods,
Yeah.
but he was after this.
Yo, I know that,
right?
but
I
either
mean,
way, I was thinking he was a second. Peter Woods, but Caleb Banks. Where I was thinking second, third round.
Yeah.
And you're like, and then he gets picked. I mean, if you like your guy, you like your guy, right?
Right. Yeah. So I would say, if they liked him, they got their guy, Joe. We could argue, and I hear what you're saying, but you saw how far that the edge rusher from Miami it dropped.
Yeah, Baines.
You know, both of them. What's that?
Baines.
Yeah.
Messidor.
Thank you. Baines, Messidor. So the media scouts always get it wrong. Again, I can hear what you're saying. Malachi Lawrence, Joe, is a 6'5", 255-pound. First step is unbelievable elite, and they're not going to need him to come in and start. Remember, mid-20s, it's kind of sketch whether they can. I mean, he's going to play a lot, but he won't necessarily be this starter on paper. I think it's a perfect situation, right, Phil?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, you don't need to. You do have. Yeah, you do have people there that are, can relieve in that sense. You're not being thrust in there like our tackles were. For example, Guyton, you're being drafted at that point. You're a potential second rounder that people talk about. I think same thing happened to Tyler Smith, where you're like, hey, you should be drafted in the second round. Redraft that same draft. Tyler Smith's going probably top 10, maybe top 15. So, it obviously plays out differently. We'll know this in a couple of years, whether Malachi Lawrence is right at the right spot. People kind of underestimated him as well, too. But when you look at those two first round draft picks, I mean, immediately, they're going to be making an impact this year. Now, whether it's an impact on the roster and you're taking up somebody's spot and you're not doing anything, that's an impactful thing. But when you're looking at Caleb Downs, of course, you're getting a guy that you're going to need to use in the nickel a little bit more than what you probably originally planned. But again, with Parker and his defense, I don't know in the sense of the switch army knife where they can just, I'm safety, I'm linebacker, I'm corner. And then the fact that this guy can play deep safety, he can play in the box type of safety stuff, I think that says a lot, at least a guy that doesn't have to come off the field. When you're looking at Lawrence, you need somebody with some defensive speed. I think that's something that we were lacking since Parsons was left. Everybody's kind of more power, but they weren't doing anything with the power. The moves weren't there. So I think he'll be a great for defensive speed in a rotational depth. Could possibly see him on the special teams as well. So I think long-term secondary help was something that we needed to kind of really focus on. And I think as you go deeper in, I don't know if Devin Moore is going to be a factor later on, but the fact that at least he has some good pedigree, some good film out there. He just needs to stay healthy. And again, if it would be one consistent injury, I would be worried. But the fact that there's many different types of injuries, I mean, that's football, right? Probably need to eat some peanut butter, and I think you should be good. But when you look at, to me, I think, I guess there could have been some guys. I know there were some guys. Joseph from Tennessee was a guy that I really liked as a pass rusher that you could have probably picked out later. But again, would people have been okay with passing up on that, possibly getting a Jacob Rodriguez later on? We'll see how that plays out in Miami. But again, what I love the fact that the Dallas Cowboys figured out, hey, what was our weakness last year? It was our defense, and that's what they attacked. Now, before we, jump into the offense or anything like that, do you like the fact that they did re-sign their kicker and is now the weapon, the weakness, the potential crutch? I like how people are spinning a negative spin on it as well, too. Oh, well, you get kind of crutched because he's like, I got the field goal.
What's up, Rags?
Rags, so how do you feel about paying our kicker and having him for the next couple of years?
Quick, yeah, let me grab the chat real fast and we'll go there. Rags, New Jersey, 57-year-old lifelong Cowboys fan coming from New Jersey. I live in South Jersey, Rags. My partner here is in South Florida. I am in South Jersey, buddy, right in between Atlantic City and Philadelphia. And he had a good question I wanted to touch on before we move on to the kicker, if you don't mind. Will Donovan Easy be healthy? Is a big question, too. He had the hip. Right, Phil?
Yep.
He was playing with it last year. Ezaraku, to me, will be and is the most important player to to come back. I think he's going to be an absolute in this new defense. I think it's going to be incredible. He literally lives Rags. He lives 10 minutes from his family. So, you know, I'm still trying to get Isaiah Pacheco. We saw him at the bar the other day. I mean, you know, I wasn't there, but you know, he lived with. I mean, Isaiah lives 10 minutes from me too. But I think he's with Detroit now. But anyway, circling back. I think Ezeraku, Phil, in this new defense, don't you think it's going to be better for him? Remember, he had 17 and a half sacks at Boston College. Probably had a more pedigreed pass rush. Now, he's smaller than Lawrence, right? You know how, so I think he's going to be better off in this defense. Do you believe that, Phil?
Oh, yeah. Compared to Eberflus's defense, I think everybody is going to be better. But when you look at, you know, a year, obviously jumping from your rookie year, putting on some weight, you know, I do like it. I think the fact that you're going to line up a lot wider is going to be good for him as well, too. So I think giving him some, because I mean, the best thing about him is his speed, and if you can get him some area to kind of start doing some of his moves before he gets to that tackle, I think that's going to be very beneficial for him. So I'm interested to see what moves he's working on. I think that's the biggest thing when it comes to any of these pass rushers on it. And when you're looking at, for example, when I took at Malachi Lawrence, I really love his moves and how he can avoid stuff. But a lot of these guys, once they get grabbed, can they make extra moves? I think that's something you haven't been able to see with a lot of them, the counter moves. You know, once they actually get a hand on by the offensive linemen, some of them all pro offensive linemen, you need to have some moves. So I think they got to do something there, and I think hopefully that new defensive coordinator is something that he's bringing to that table, and knowing his past, I think that you do have that. But when you look further down, I think you know, Bartman has to be talked about, I think, in this group as well too. A guy that's going to be in. You're going to see a lot of them even in his rookie year. What do you think about Jay-Sean?
Yeah, I love Jay-Sean Barr. Rag says, I'm good friends with Michelle Staubach. I'm up in Florham Park, the home of the Jets. 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 What's up, Joe DeMasi? What's up, brother? But yes, I love Jay-Sean Barnum only because of the upside. Again, if we all knew, if he was that great, not that he wasn't, I'm not trying to be mean, but we would have been screaming his name. But the people who actually watch tape, like the Dane Bruglers of the world, we're high on Jay-Sean Barnum. Again, another big, lengthy dude. Basically, hold your breath, Eagle fans. The Zach Bond of the Cowboys defense. They will play him in the middle. Okay? They will play him in the middle. So when you add him to the equation with DeMarvin Overshown and D Winters, 6'4.5", right? 253, Jay-Sean Barnum. He didn't look that big in Michigan. He's a violent, physical player who likes to hold your breath again. Who likes to compare himself and watch his film on Ray Lewis. Again, I'm not saying. I mean,
shouldn't those be the guys you aim to try to be like? I mean, yeah, exactly. I want to be like, you know, like who you trying to say?
Player. So again, that's why I said the more I take a step back, I think we're more than fine at linebacker. I do. Again, long term in the NFL is a year, maybe two, and then you start to looking. You're already looking at contracts. How many guys did you sign free agent deals last year that are already on another team? You're like, well, I thought it was a multiple year deal. Well, no, it's all about the guaranteed money and what they're willing to eat and what they're willing to save on the salary cap. So, Jay-Sean Barnum.
Thank you, Rex.
Very, very excited. Yet, Phil, another one of those guys where you want to rely on a fourth-round draft pick? Well, I think we're going to have to.
We're going to have to, yeah. Unless you go out there and get a older Bobby Wagner or something like that. You know, I know I keep barking up that tree, but you know,
I don't have a problem bringing him in for a year. I'm fine with it. Again, I'm fine with it, but I still don't know the defining roles of Maris Leofau. We're hearing he's going to be an outside linebacker.
Yeah,
I don't know. They're all not going to make the team. So that's the thing. So I hope that they're able to adjust on the fly. We liked what we saw from Leofau, but I don't know if he's big enough to play outside linebacker.
That's what I was going to say. I think that's always
that's
the question.
my fear.
Can you shift him over to a safety like linebacker kind of situation where you had like Marquise Bell, you know?
Well, and I think it's going to be interesting. This is why we say there's a lot of moving parts.
Yes,
but
Joe, I forgot all about D. Winters. That's another one.
Well, that's why I said Winters and Overshone, and now you're going to bring in Barnum. Those are your three interior linebackers, Phil.
Mm-hmm.
Those are your three interior. You see ball, hit ball.
But you also obviously need the other guy because until Overshone starts to put stuff together, and I know it's a contract year, and everything kind of points to he should stay healthy because that's how we tend to do contract years. But I mean, he's still got to go out there and do it. I mean, since what I'm not going to say high school, but college. There has been that injury history. And I think, of course, Dallas fans, that's the first thing we automatically start thinking about. I don't think we think of Sean Lee in the sense of the mind, but I think when you come to an impact player that if he's not on the field, we really feel that. I mean, his speed, being able to get to running backs in the open field, that is definitely something that we love seeing. The fact that Dallas kind of went with where the fans were going and gave him the number 0, I think that was, again, you're listening to the fans in some way, but again, when you're listening, you've continued that and started listening to the head coach, the defensive coordinator, started listening to some of the guys that they wanted in this team. So I'm going to ask you some questions. I think some of these picks, and I want you to give me what your opinion is on some of these picks and what they are going to do for this team. I think we can all believe they're camp bodies, but will they make bigger roles, okay? So we're going to talk about Sam Howell, the backup quarterback. Now, do you see him being the number 2 right now? Or do you see there's going to be a competition between Milton and all that? What?
I'm not a big at this point. What? Real quick, Rags. Glad you guys popped up on my feed, liked and subscribed.
Appreciate that.
See, so this is what we're talking about. We have 2 channels, Rags. 2. There's one up at the top there, and this is Phil. This one has all the bells and whistles and looks pretty. But yes, there are 2 channels. Thanks, Rex. Yeah, it's all about the algorithm, brother. But we've been doing this for a little bit, and we just got back in the draft. So I hope that you do like and you share, and we're trying to grow this particular channel. Phil doesn't do as much because of his busy life, but we do, we're getting back into the swing of things on this side. But yes, you asked me about who after I did that.
I was listening. I was over here getting ready to Rags New York Jersey because he was name dropping again. He was talking about I'm friends with Shotty's wife, Jemmy.
Shotty.
Our kids played youth sports in FP, and when he was with the Jets. Oh, okay, that's really cool. I try to get info from her all the time.
Phil,
the insider.
Phil, tell Rags I'm about a little less than 2 hours from MetLife, Rags. So I went to the Jet game. I sat row 1 last year, baby. Did I not, Phil? I was me and Butter
seats.
Aubrey were boys. I was right next to Aubrey.
I would have saw Parsons if he wasn't traded before then. He'd have been laying near me.
I was good friends. I was talking to Aubrey, and I was right next to not too far away from Trayvon Diggs on the exercise bike. That didn't work. Anyway, let's circle back. What did you ask me, brother?
So anyway, I was asking about Sam Howell. That's what I was asking about.
Howell.
What do you think?
I hope that he ends up being the backup. As much as I like the trade for
Milton,
the other who?
Milton,
yeah, Joe Milton. His strong arm, but man,
just got inaccurate.
The offense just. I don't know. Let me ask you now, Rags. Since you're new to the channel, Rags, Phil used to be quarterback of the Oregon Ducks, right? So we're going back. So, Phil, I always go to Phil for my anything that because you played it many So
many moons
my
ago.
thing is this, Phil, when you have a guy like Joe Milton, okay, who is a backup and has nothing in common, and the offense has to change in order for him to come in and play, because it does. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
No, bad thing.
I think that's
it's a very bad thing.
You think it's a bad thing?
It's a very bad thing. I mean, it's a good thing in the sense that this offense is not working. We need to get something different in here. Boom, you throw them in there, it's different. Like, oh, all of a sudden they're moving. It's like going to 2-minute drill all of a sudden, you're just like, oh, it's throwing them off. But when you're trying to, we are trying to win this game, everybody has been on the same page, everybody's running this amazing game plan that we have going, boom, quarterback goes down. We need to continue that same game plan because it is working. It is actually working in this instance, and we need that guy to continue that game plan. What is a backup quarterback other than trying to run your game plan? Again, it shouldn't be your third string could possibly be that guy, but I don't think that should be your backup, that it should automatically change. That's why I did like Milton coming in. I thought he was more of a Dak Prescott style type of thing. But
you know what I mean, Phil? Because from a novice, it's like it could work for short stints, right? It could work, right? Against a tough defense, a guy like Joe Milton, right? I mean, that could help, right? Just drop back and just start running the ball, right? But it's not long term. If Dak's out for any length of time, we're in trouble.
Oh, yeah, we
need Sam Howell to come in. That's why I like Sam Howell. Sam Howell beat us a few years ago. Sam Howell, I'm not going to say he's a starter anymore, but he started a lot of games in the NFL.
And that's what you need. You need somebody that's capable of taking the reins. Obviously, if he was a person that could run with the reins, I mean, he wouldn't be getting them for the discounted price, and he wouldn't be your backup. Let's be real. Unless you duped him, and they did the Alabama thing where you're like, I promise you're going to be a starter, and then switch. We're not going to. But you got to pay him that money. But I think that was a great thing in the sense of at least going out there and knowing that, hey, if we go and do Milton, every single throw that he throws, again, I will always point this out, but he reminds me of the Mighty Ducks sharpshooter where he just stands there and everybody kind of gets out of the way because he's going to hit it so hard, and so he slings it. But like 1 out of 5 is the accuracy that is there. So I really need him to really kind of work on that accuracy. When they're doing those throws where they're throwing it into the little net and everything, he needs to work on that way more. But again, we're going to stay with the offense, and we're going to go down to the offensive line. Matt Hennessy, getting that offensive lineman, how do you feel about that depth compared to a Brock Hoffman that had to walk away?
Well, again, we talked about Brock Hoffman. We loved his intensity. We loved leadership. We loved his guard center flexibility. What we didn't like is when he had to play extended, you saw his deficiencies. Now he wasn't horrible, but you have to make decisions when you have a salary cap, and they chose TJ Bass, Oregon's own. I like TJ Bass better than Brock Hoffman anyway, so I was okay with it. TJ Bass, I think, can be a starter, but he's your swing guard. Matt Hennessy, I'm not the biggest. I don't know that much about him. Please tell the people what we're getting in Matt Hennessy. I always thought that he was more of a tackle guy, but you're saying he plays center and guard?
Center and guard, yes. When you look at his NFL career, he's been around a lot of talent. Let's just be real. He's been around a lot of success. So, I mean, when you look at what some of these teams that he played for before, I think the Chiefs, for example, Patriots, I believe, was another one as well. Oh, great offensive line coach. Now I'm going to have to look back. It's kind of slipping my mind. But when you're looking at that, those offensive line plays were amazing. I think. What did he say? When's our scheduled time? Yeah, we don't even know sometimes.
No. We'll get to that, Rags. We like at the end we'll break down. But Joe Tranchina had a question, but it's more on the offense. But
go ahead. We're going offense
real quick. All right. Well, I want to hear what you said about Matt Hennessy. Don't let me forget Joe Tranchina's question.
Okay. But no, when you're looking
Matt
at this,
Hennessy to people and me, because I'm a little. I mean,
when you're looking at Brock Hoffman coming in there, what was Brock Hoffman's deal? What was his problem? I think with a lot of it was the transitioning, grabbing from one double teaming, you're going to your single, going from your single to your double team. I think those are things that he kind of lacked on as well too. This is something that he can do when you're looking at this running game and what it has to do under Shoddy, and of course our offensive coordinator, what's his name, from Arizona, that went offensive line coach,
Clayton Adams.
Thank you very much. When you look at the style of the way that they like to do, they love that whole peeling, starting on 1, going to 2, going to 2, going to 1. That's how run games really should be, the zone type of running schemes. I mean, you know what area you're going to be running to, but there should be a lot of peeling off, and I think you found a guy that can do that. I think Hoffman really struggled to get to that next level sometimes. He definitely found a lot of success where he was able to, so I think that's something that's growing in his game, and that's what I was looked forward to with Hoffman. I look forward to his growth, and I think that he was very much improvement in that. But when it comes to perfection, I don't think that it was there. There was a lot of missed tackles, not getting in position.
But he
people were able to get back.
You're telling me.
But your guard, your center as well too. So your flexibility.
Well, I'm looking at him. I'm looking at him right now. He's a 28-year-old, 6'4", 315. Third round pick in 2020. 78 overall. He's played with Atlanta, the Eagles, Falcons, Niners, now Cowboys.
Appreciate you watching from the sauna.
Dude, I love Rags. I need to get me a sauna. It's just I have a so Phil. I have my jacuzzi outside on a nice slab, but I should have made it a little bigger so I had room for a
Rags.
sauna. Saunas are the best for
Rags. We try to shoot for Fridays and Saturday nights, evening times, like 7, 8, something like that. But
I would say
vary.
Fridays lately. Either a Friday
during
or
the
Saturday
season. We
on
pick
this
up a lot
channel.
more. We pick up a lot more during the season.
Me
We start doing a lot
on
more.
the other channel that's pinned at the top.
We do a lot of
you don't get
activity.
shit every
lots,
day.
lots.
Almost every day.
Yeah,
almost.
So I
every day.
definitely
I do
appreciate
a lot-
the support.
Rags, I have a channel membership where I'll do maybe 2 or 3 videos, like live streams a week where
And you can
I'll
join in
allow-
if you're a member. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're a channel member, you get the Zoom link emailed to you, and you can be a part of the show.
Thank you, Rags. Don't worry, and just to warn you, man, we have a lot of Eagle fans, a lot of Giants, Washington fans. Lots of them come in here, so they can, there's a lot of, in the sense of trash talking. But again, it's at the end of the day when something happens, we're all behind each other and stuff like that. So you'll definitely get a best of both worlds type of situation.
Rags knows he lives in North Jersey, so
you know how it is. You know how it is.
The Eagle fans are. We love them. But they're toxic. You tread lightly.
So right now it's
get
very
to know
low.
Eagles Drew real well.
Oh yeah,
Eagles.
Hey. Well, Linda's here today, and she's very knowledgeable.
Oh
yeah, he does. He's very good. He does a very good job.
He gets under your skin faster than
he does, because he's like, Brian has to tell me to shut up. Like, dude, ignore it. I'm like,
he's ripping the Band-Aid off, and then.
So I got to go offense. I got to continue on offense. I think we're gonna go into the category. We're gonna go into the category that Joe was talking about, but we're gonna go wide receiver because I want to know what you think.
Well, what's this question?
Go ahead. Let's go ahead and bring up questions. I want you to read it.
All right. I have questions that say let's say Pickens has an incredible season, right? And CeeDee Lamb has the same season like last year, but still keeps dropping passes. Would you rather keep CeeDee or Pickens? That is a good question. Man, that's a tough one.
I would rather keep CeeDee. I'd rather keep CeeDee, but yeah, I think what you have with CeeDee. I think again, Pickens still.
I don't think CeeDee is a habitual offender when it comes to dropping, but he may drop it occasionally. He was nowhere near the top of the league in drops last year. Again, he was literally.
Thank you, Rex.
Nowhere near the top of the league in drops. It seemed like it hurt us. But Joe Tranchina, I would go CeeDee Lamb.
I'll go CeeDee because he's part of the franchise.
Beautiful. Yeah, he was your drafted guy. Let's have this. And you just said it, Joe.
That's a great question.
Let's see if he can get through another year being a team guy. Now, let's not act like he was perfect this year. He was late to many meetings. They've been hush-hush about it, but they're starting to leak
Well,
it a
you
little.
can see those things. I mean, we all knew those type of people growing up that were just loud-mouthed. As soon as they're losing, they're sore losers. They're very talented, but that's what they, we all know that. And when things aren't going their way, they pout. And everybody knows people. And it doesn't have to be an NFL star or a basketball star. We all know that. We could be like, hey, that's Doug from down the street. We all know that son of a bitch, and he would always get annoying, but he always wanted him on your team, right? He always wanted him on your team because when he started bad-mouthing to the other team, you're like, oh, yeah, that's going to get in their heads and stuff like that. You always wanted that guy on your team, but he's a pain in the ass. Let's just all be real. Marquise Valdez-Scantling. Yeah. Now, how do you feel about
Joe's question, though? But just real quick, to his question is, You know, Lamb
gotta reach that
runs
out.
more
Shit.
routes. Yeah, he plays inside, he's outside. I'm curious. I'm not saying Pickett's can't. Let's see if they offer him more routes to run. How will he run them routes? Let's not forget the game. What was the game where he wasn't
Thanks for
running?
reminding, Joe.
It was a
Oh my God! There was that same. It was the one that CD kind of fell out of as well too. That both of
Yeah,
them
it
at
was
the
like
same
he
time.
just disappeared.
When one
And it
disappears,
was
the
kinda
other
like-
one needs to be able to pick that up. You drop a couple of
Yeah.
passes, something doesn't go your way. You need to push through it because guess what? Within a quarter, half a quarter, all of a sudden you could be the highlight of that game.
Well,
but
this
no,
is
like
why.
I'm checking out on it and stuff
This
like that.
is
Yeah.
all on tape, guys. This is, again, like like we're not tape guys. We don't break down film, but it's all on tape. There's a reason why nobody in the NFL offered him a big time deal. If they
Thank you
did,
for reminding, Joe.
you would have heard about it because they would have said, "Oh, we got 40 million or 35 million from the Cardinals. Are you gonna match?" Now they could always. I mean, I get the whole. Well, they're not going to give 2 number ones. Dallas. Yeah, they could go to Dallas and say, we want him, but we don't want to give up the 2 number ones. Let's work out a different trade. Dallas could have done that. It wasn't like it had to be 2 ones. Nobody offered him
Yeah,
anything.
what's
or
your
even
linebacker
asked
looking
down.
like? What's your linebacker looking like? But no,
Anyway,
and I think when you
circle
look
back, I just wanted to finish that off.
Thank
that
you for the
he
reminder,
has to
Joe.
prove it.
I am going to actually reach out to one of my kids to see when does voluntary training come because I want to make sure that we're not.
It's going on like all this week, so it would have to be.
All right,
Yeah,
so
we need to do that.
Kind of reminded me, guys, and then I will have my
yeah,
kid
yeah.
reach out as well. So
Well, he's busy this week.
yeah. So Valdez
I
Scan,
love
do
that
you
that
believe?
graphic, by the
Do you like that pickup to replace a
Lead.
Tolbert, or do you think the Tolbert replacements like a Mingo or Cooper or I'm not thinking
Who's the
Flournoy?
replacement for? I think Flournoy is the replacement for Tolbert,
Yeah.
right?
I believe that too.
I
We
think
saw that already. I
Flournoy's
think
better.
most Cowboy fans can believe
Yeah.
that. But again,
I
are
think
you
we're fine
adding
on-
depth? Are you adding people? Valdez, Scanlon. I
would-
think that's a great
Oh,
depth
he ain't
add.
gonna make the team.
No, he
so.
won't. But it's good camp body. Who do we have?
I
Paris
love,
Campbell a couple years ago. That was kind of like that
Paris
same.
Campbell's on our roster too again. They brought
Is
him
he back? He brought him back. Shit. Okay, I was just using him for an example, but I
we
think
have
that's
a couple young guys that I really love. Oregon's own, remember? What was his name from last year? The Oregon wide receiver.
because we haven't had that hype.
I'll pull it up.
Understandable, leader commander. I totally get you, man. And trust me, we've been the 30 years we've been dealing with it like crazy. But you got to understand, like, you have to, even as a commander fan, you can see things are doing things a little differently. Now, whether it's the Joneses or the people pulling the strings behind the Joneses, because I know the coaching staff is in there, things are different. Now, is it enough
All right,
difference
yeah.
to be a
Okay, here
Super
we
Bowl
go.
team? I don't know, man. I'm hoping.
I have it
I
here.
know you're not hoping.
I have it here. Obviously, we got Lamb and Pickens and Flournoy, right?
Yeah.
We got Mingo.
And I think
Devontae
still a
Turpin,
good. I think
obviously.
again. I think so many people get caught up on the whole trade, the 4th round, all that kind of stuff. I just think that's again, Mingo is one of those scary. Could be good. I don't expect him to
Could
be
be
an
good
all-pro, but he
we
could
have plenty
definitely
of
step up.
bodies.
Yeah.
Marquez Valdez Scanling, okay, whatever. Tyler Johnson, Paris Campbell, Anthony Smith. I was watching some Anthony Smith highlights. That's our 7th round drafted guy. Dude is a stud. And is
That's a
lightning
shocker
fast.
to me, man, because with me, I loved Bryce Lance going into this draft. I thought he was a guy that could slip to us and everything. And then after that, after he got drafted, I was like, okay, I wasn't really looking at it. And then all of a sudden, I saw that they drafted a wide receiver. I was like, okay, that's interesting.
Anthony Smith.
And
like,
then
oh
I
my
started
God,
looking
he
at it
should've
because
been-
obviously I had not
Yeah.
heard about him at all. I wasn't looking at wide receivers. Let's be real, man. Like I think I looked at the first 5 receivers and that was it. But man, what a good pickup by them. I'm interested to see how much of a contributor, if he can be a threat, he can be a camp body, but I don't think he's a guy you're going to dangle there. So he could be a legit contender to try to push somebody off the roster that maybe might be hovering there. So I'm going to be interested to watch that because if you let him go, hey, I think another team is going to sign him. I think there's enough talent there that I would not be surprised if another team snatched him up as well too. So you got to be careful there because you do have some wide receivers that if you play the same thing as John Ridgeway, I think we all understand. Remember that John Ridgeway thing? That still hurts. you dangle him, and all of a sudden Washington grabs him, lead commander. You know what that is. What's up,
Lead
Drew?
commander,
What's up?
This is going to be fun. Yeah, but let me finish the wide receivers. We got Jordan Hudson, Camden Brown. I don't know much about. And Trayshawn Holden, that's the guy I was thinking of. I really like Trayshawn Holden as well. I think we're fine at wide receiver. I think we are fine.
Definitely. I mean, you couldn't. I mean, again, if you're bringing somebody in, all of a sudden you got to get rid of somebody. And I think there's some talent that another team could definitely benefit from somebody being let go. So you're going to have to dangle some of them as well too. Hey, I think there's veteran ones there that you could release that maybe people aren't going to be snatching up, that you can bring back on your practice squad. I think the Paris Campbells you're talking about, Valdez Scatlin, I think that's another one that you're going to be able to do that with as well too. I'm going to switch the stuff, and I'm going to go with possible disappointments, but possible good things. Okay, so when I look at that, the number one person I think of is Sam Williams. Okay, Sam Williams, a guy that, hey, I'm amazing, I should be this, I should be that, and then his numbers are like good, but then he does some boneheaded plays, he does some boneheaded things, comes back for, I didn't want to bring him back, but then he signs for what, $2.5 million or something like that, to that nature. Obviously didn't hurt us by that point. Going to be a rotational piece. How do you think Sam Williams' future lies in this defense? And is it a guy that could be on the chopping block by camp?
No, I don't believe that at all. I think Sam Williams, again, this is what we know about Sam in a 4-3. Sam Williams wasn't very disciplined, right, as far as holding the edge. He was very violent, very strong, fast guy. But now he is going to be doing more of what he's done in college. More stand-up outside linebacker stuff. Again, very fast. Again, he was coming off the ACL last year, right? So now we're 2 years removed. A 1-year deal, prove-it deal. Dude has everything it takes, but he's got to put it together. He says this scheme fits him the best. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see. I'm interested to see Kenny Clark and see. I haven't seen that big drop that most people are talking about that. And so yeah, continue.
You brought up some names with Kenny Clark, right? If you're looking at our defense, base 3-4, again, it's kind of confusing when you're looking at it. But base 3-4, okay, fine. But we're not going to be in a situation where normally you're going to have two linebackers on the field. But Kenny Clark played way too many snaps for us since the trade last year. Okay, that's why his numbers deteriorated. They still had a good, since the trade of Quentin Williams, they still were in the top 10 in rush defense. But still, the ship had already sailed for statistical. That defense was horrendous. So Kenny Clark played too many snaps. You brought up a name who's going to help, Jonathan Bullard, right? Jonathan Bullard is going to help Kenny Clark. He is a veteran of this league.
Yeah, you need to be able to have some depth that, like, there's not going to be a huge drop off in production, and even in that spot, you're trying to hold that ground, right? You're trying to at least clog up some lanes and everything as well, too. So the stats aren't going to technically be there, but the fact is that you're going to need to be able to be a part of that run game stopping action, whether you're because you're be covering more than just a particular gap. But yeah, I agree. I definitely agree in the sense that you need people that in that depth position. Yeah.
I mean, you got Ezeraku, Malachi Lawrence, Sam Williams, and Isaiah Land. We'll see if he makes the team. But you got Kenny Clark, Jonathan Bullard, Kevin Gilliam Jr., not really sure of him. Jay Toia, obviously nose tackle, along with Otito Agbania. Jay Toia, could he be fighting for a roster spot?
I agree, yeah.
I think he is. Yeah. Again.
You got a lot of talent that's there, and he's towards the bottom of that totem pole. Yep.
And you got to move on. We made him. That's why they hadn't drafted well in the 4th and 5th. I think he was a 7th rounder, I think. But who was the guy we drafted a few years ago who never even played a game hardly for us?
He's talking about. You're talking about our wide receiver's cousin or whatever.
It was an edge rusher that.
Yeah, but remember the wide receiver with the same name? He had the wide receiver that had the same name, last name. I can't think of his name.
Yeah, but anyway. Yeah.
2-5.
So, yeah. League commander, the name is CP Lombardi. Put some respect on the Hall of Famer's name. Yeah, so we'll see. Again, I think that we're in a way better position to go forward if guys, there's a better rotation. Again, Otito Agbania, he was a part of the defense who beat us and who beat the Eagles on the last play of the game. He was a starter on the Chargers defense, so he's now part of a rotation. So again, it's a better defensive line to go along with all-world Quinnen Williams and obviously a pro's pro in Kenny Clark. So again, I think we're really good there. I think we've gotten bigger on defense, and
faster.
I think that's what Christian Parker wants. Yeah, I think that's what Christian Parker.
Yeah,
wanted.
and I think that's where obviously we understand your shortcomings in the secondary, and some of the moves you need to make, or some of the stuff that you needed for it to come together. Whether it's coaching, whether it's them understanding the scheme, staying healthy. There's question marks, of course, in the secondary when you're talking about Ravel, of course, Cars, any of these guys. I mean, they all have somewhat of an injury, even Bland's. But you're hoping that, again, you're that helping with the pass front seven. I think that you're hoping that will translate into pressure, causing some stuff in the secondary being able to be shadowed and blanketed up. But it's going to be interesting to see the type of transition that happens here, just because, again, you got to at least try to get to mid-pack when in there, and I think they definitely had the talent to at least do that. I'm interested to see, once you bring it from paper, what it looks like, to actuality. Once teams start figuring it out as well too, and now we're able to counter you, do you have that talent to be able to understand that and to be able to change that on the field? I think that's what we need, the offense, that equivalent of that to the defense, but we don't need to be as good, right? But again, you don't have an elite pass rusher, but you got some guy potential things where you're like, okay, you can make some good numbers, he could have a good year. I don't expect them to have a Hall of Famer type of situation there, but even a blind squirrel finds a nut occasionally. But again, nothing's going to be perfect going into any of those Super Bowl runs. I think.
Away, brother.
No, yeah, definitely should. But again, it's where Cowboy fans will, definitely start getting hype, man. Start believing in this team. I think that's where last year I was easy to say that, I don't know, playoffs, would be happy to get there, but I don't think so. Like, doing a lot of that, but believe in your team, man. I'm definitely starting to believe in this team and where they're going. Now, I still need to see it from a lot of new players and a lot of new coaches. But again, it's not Eberflus, and I'm not going, well, I'm hoping that he's going to change. I'm hoping that he's going to listen. I'm going to hope that he's, at least now you got people trying to make a change, trying to make a difference. So I think that's all I can really hope for as a Cowboy fan. So, Bryan, as I continue this, I want to push forward with some of the starters here, because we're talking about, you're obviously talking. I don't know how much time you have. We've been here for like an hour. Good?
I'm fine today. Yeah, you'll get a nice Bryan today. I'm good. But let me before you go in there next, let me get League Commander real quick. League Commander. Again, remember, I had you winning the division last year, and I mean, listen, I get it, and that's my caveat. I always say when we're doing our predictions, if God forbid you lose your quarterback, I think then it's safe to say, you're going to not have as many wins. I was surprised at how bad the defense got, League Commander. Now, you made a lot of moves. So I'm going to have a show on Thursday on the other channel, and I'm going to have Louis T on. I'm going to ask Louis exactly, I'm very curious about the Commanders. They're all over the map. I cannot put a pin. I can't pinpoint what they're going to be. I know what they've done, and they're a big question mark. I think Giants are getting overhyped right now. Okay, but I think they're going to be better, but they're getting overhyped.
I think what you got to be positive on the Commanders is the fact that you're taking old talent and you're replacing it with younger talent, but to the equivalent of it. I think when you look at his styles, I got to still see him out there reacting to NFL type of things, but you replace them for Bobby Wagner. Yes. I mean, you replaced the older person with a younger talent, great job. True. I think that's where you can do. Did you improve?
I compared him to LeVar Arrington, and people get annoyed, but LeVar wasn't a bust. I mean, they just didn't live up to the thing. I said that's kind of what it reminds me of. So we'll see.
But that's the thing about it,
That's
Drew.
a
I totally
very
get
good
you.
question
I
mark.
totally get you in that sense. 2
People
years,
are
but
writing
you
off
just
the
need it
Eagles
to
to
be
me.
better than 30th than you were last year. I think that's what we're trying to push for right now. We're not getting Super Bowl
Well, that's the
defensive. We're just
thing.
trying to get better
You
defense.
hit it on the head.
You know,
When we talk about the encouragement of Dallas, assuming Dallas is still a top 10 offense, and that would be a downgrade. Obviously, they need to get better in the red zone. I get it. But assuming they stay relatively similar to last year offensively, if they move up 10 spots and are in the teens, let's say they go from 30 to 20, let's say, right? And that's not asking that much because they've done it just a few years ago under Mike Nolan. Then they are going to be a playoff contender.
yeah,
They will be vying for a playoff.
But I think
Whether they do
Drew
it or not,
kind
I
of
don't
forgets
know.
that, Drew, hey, you believe in your team too, and they didn't get there as well. But when did you start believing in that team that was a Super Bowl team? Were the people telling you were crazy? Like, I really like, and I totally understand. But I really like the level of talent that we've gotten. I mean, you obviously got a lot of contracts there, and you got to. This is great for as much top heavy salary paying type of situation that they're in. To me, you can only go so far, and they were kind of pushing it right now. I think here again, 2 to 3 years here. This is the first year in that thing where, if it doesn't, it's going to be all blown up because there's going to be a lot of contracts ending.
Yeah, Drew, I think the Giants, when they say fighting for a playoff, again, I think they are overhyped. I think they're going to be better than 4 wins? Was that what they had last year, or 5? But I don't know if they're going to be much better based on their schedule than maybe 7, maybe 8. I mean, they're going to be better, but I don't think they're in the playoff conversation.
I think as long as their quarterback can just stay healthy, quit running in front of, like, you go out there and you get an offensive lineman. I mean, you got to keep yourself in front behind that offensive lineman so he can do his job. If you're running around and then going straight head first into the defense, I mean.
Year 2 of Louis T. Louis T's guy Jaden Daniels wasn't the greatest, right? Mm-hmm. Or was that year 3? Was last year 2 of Jaden?
Yeah, year 2.
It was, right?
Year 2.
Yeah. So, and what happened? He got hurt because NFL schemes it up. They watch film. Year 2 of a quarterback is rough. So we'll see with Jackson Dart. Now that everybody has had a whole offseason, we'll see what they actually do. I like them. I like them coming out. But we'll see.
Drew, at some point, I think and I get it, but like at some point you got to push the narrative aside. And I could go the same thing. Well, Jalen Hurts is going to have his 7th offensive coordinator and stuff, but
may not be on the team next year.
You want me to run that narrative? No, I mean sometimes you got to push that narrative aside and go, hey man, there's certain times where an offensive coordinator may be good because you got a certain talent coming in. I really like the talent coming in. I really like the defensive coordinator choice.
But anyway,
I think he's a good thing. So love it. So
Let's
again, now I want to continue on there in the sense of the bad, the good. What do you feel about this one? I think this one's a great re-signing. TJ Bass coming back, really good depth. A guy to me that's a potential starter, I think, in the NFL. So the fact that nobody snatched him up to be a starting guard or something in their line, I think there was a lot of teams that could have benefited. So the fact that you can bring him back and he's still part of the depth part, I think that's really, really good for the offense. How do you feel about TJ Bass coming back?
Yeah, it looks like he's going to be he could do either guard position, and he can play center in a pinch, but he's going to be your right guard behind Tyler Booker. Again, it just gives you great depth. The dude, I really like him. I think he is a starter in the league. And you got Trevor Keegan to our left.
That's
guard,
okay, man. I'm loving this Kool-Aid over here, man.
Bass
This tastes refreshing.
What's that?
I haven't tasted Kool-Aid in years, so trust me, I am drinking all of the Kool-Aid.
I love Kool-Aid.
I don't mind.
I
do not mind.
I love
my doctor told me I found apparently another sugar-free one. So
everybody's drinking the Kool-Aid. Then the whole media, everybody. But yes, I like TJ Bass a lot. We've liked him ever since his rookie year. They brought him back on a 1-year deal, so he's not here long term. But it was an exclusive rights deal. So
yeah, I mean,
nobody really. I was very surprised.
Yeah, I think he could have definitely been somebody.
Surprised.
Yes, I think definitely somebody could have benefited from him being on that team. So when you look at that, you obviously saw guys leave. Tolbert, were you happy about Tolbert finally leaving?
Yes, absolutely.
Is Goodwin gone? CJ Goodwin, is he
Yes.
gone? Yes.
C.J.
So
Goodwin's
again, that
gone.
was another one gone. I think there's some ones that I saw that we
Bye-bye.
left. Were like,
Thank you.
again,
What's
I
up,
could
Coyote?
if Sam Williams would have gone in that route, I wouldn't have been extremely unhappy about that. But but as you're going into, I think the biggest question as you're going into this year of the overall team is, of course, can your pass rush improve to kind of help, whether it's the run game, whether it's the pass game, whether it's getting pressure, whether it's helping your secondary. I think there's so many things with that secondary needing help. Can they stay healthy? I think that's a huge thing. And with all these new pieces, can the run defense be, can it be there? It needs to. If your weakness is your secondary, as most would like to say, then you need to be able to take away at least a part of the game. And will it be better than last year? I think it definitely can improve.
Question, Lead Commander.
What's that?
That's a good question. He said game and prime. My QB played 5 games last year. Your QB played all season. Both defenses were terrible. You only won 3 more games. Why? That's a good question. Our defense was
horrendous,
really bad.
extremely horrendous. But that's what I'm saying. Like,
we were given
it balanced.
We led the NFL league commander by 30-plus yards, explosive plays by a long shot. I could pull up the number, but we.
But then,
they were
when you look on
running
the
circles in
defensive
our
side,
secondary.
they
didn't know what they were doing.
They were
It
letting
was
up how
broken-
many? Yeah.
It was broken assignments after broken assignments. We actually did
really
half
bad
decent
to
stop and
watch,
run.
man. If you ever watched just from the beginning, when you saw Russell Wilson,
You guys
just
didn't break assignments.
destroying.
You may have been statistically bad, but
Yeah, they were just
Chris
throwing
Dooley,
deep
what's up,
ones
brother?
and stuff. And that's what the game plan was. Hey, let's just throw it deep.
yeah,
that's all you had to
it
do.
was bad last year on defense, but it was a lot of scheme, and players just were,
just so
I think Malik
lost.
Hooker took an undue punishment when a lot of the assignments weren't his. Kyrie Elam was a wreck. He never panned out. I had higher hopes for him, but it is what it is. Last year lead. Our offense was really good. Your offense, again, I understand you only had your quarterback for 5 games. I agree, but there's still a question. You fired your whole coaching staff, right? Except the head coach, who led the defense, right? Jaden Daniels didn't have nothing to do with the defense. Yet you were horrible on defense, and yet you kept your coach. This is the last year for Dan Quinn. If he doesn't get it done this year, he will be gone. So that'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. That's why I said I don't know where you guys sit. Lead. You
Yeah,
guys
you
could
guys are question
be
mark.
unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. League Commander. You guys could be really good this year. I'm not saying you're not. It's just like when I say
I gotta see some. I
that's
gotta
how
see some offense. I gotta see these guys play, and it's not preseason. I just gotta see how the offense is laid out, how the defense is laid out. Some of those things, what are you calling in certain plays? And I know it gets very vanilla, but how players react to a play, how even those vanilla plays, like once it's passed, do players react quickly? Are they already in position?
Right.
So I think there's a lot of question marks that get at least answered a little bit. You're not getting that full spectrum because, of course, nobody wants to give anything away, or you don't want to hurt your starters. There's so many things about the preseason. It's going to be interesting to see what they eventually do with that. To me, I just don't understand how you can have a Major League Baseball that has minor league teams, but you can't have like a NFL with a minor league type of team that would just play, and that was where you would have your talent kind of developing and stuff like that. To me, again, NFL stuff, some of it just baffles me, just because I feel like there's ones that aren't, the things that they're thinking about has nothing to do with the improvement of the game. It has everything to do with just the dollar signs as well. And of course, I'm preaching to the choir by that point. But anyway, so Bryan, as we keep pushing through, one thing I wanted to point out, and again, I'm going to go back to the offensive side of the ball, because all you can do is try to improve in talent, and I think this is something that needs to be standing out. The tight end that we went out and got, an undrafted free agent. When you look at him, and I'm thinking you're going to be the same thing as me, where do you see his role? because I see a guy like that making the roster. Now, with me, I think it could be the same thing. I see him as the Luke Schoonmaker replacement. The guy that,
Michael Trigg?
Yes,
Yeah.
Michael Triggs. Thank you. I have not been able to take a deep dive into that, so I know people are getting hyped about him as well, too. So, there has to be some stuff there. But when you look at Luke and how he's been in this league, do you think the coaching staff is behind him thinking, because I know that I've heard rumors that they really thought he took a big jump last year. Do you think that he's enough into this coaching staff that they would keep him around and dangle a guy like that into the practice squad to be picked up?
I don't know. I think Michael Trigg is going to be on this team. So, how many are they going to keep? 3? I think Princeton Fant might be in trouble, and I think what they're doing is I think you're going to, obviously you got Jake Ferguson, and then you have Princeton Fant and what's his name? Luke Schoonmaker are going to be fighting for a spot. I think Michael Trigg and Brevin Spanford are on the team. That's just my opinion. I think that Schoonmaker may be gone. This is a new. But how many do they normally keep? 3? 4?
I would say 3 is usually your number.
Right.
Possibly a 4 if you
you
have a really good talent there, but 3 would be your main thing.
Brevin Spanford ain't going nowhere with his blocking.
Jake Ferguson. Yep.
So maybe Princeton Fant they move on from if they decide to keep Luke Schoonmaker, but are they going to re-sign him? He's going to cost. Not that it's going to cost that much. Michael Trigg's not going nowhere. Now, I don't know that you'll get Michael Trigg to the practice squad. He's going to play good enough in the preseason, and he's your perfect red zone guy. Again, he would have been a high draft pick without some of the off-the-field concerns. He played for 3 different colleges. Bit of an immature player, Michael Trigg, but the way he attacks the football is absolute ridiculous. A big boy too. So I don't know. I think he has a shot to make the team. So if you want to, keep Fant and move on from Schoonmaker, I don't think anybody's going to lose his sleep over that. To predict what they're going to do, I think injuries. Maybe you'll find an injury, a fake injury, something like that to stash a player. But I don't know that you want to do that with Luke Schoonmaker. I think you want Michael Trigg to be a part of your team. So I don't know about your stashing him, but let him play. Let's see where let's see how he looks in preseason.
See,
right?
Drew, I can point out, I love you, Drew, man, but I can point out how you were all big and bad about your team, and then you turned on them by the end of the year. Oh, this and that. You just pointed out, you were just pointing out the stuff that we were pointing out about your team before. So, again, we could be so negative about your team, but, where's the love, man? Where's the love? You got nothing negative? Hi. You won't be here to tell us that we were right. You'll have another excuse when it all goes into a particular area. I know you'll be here when it's negative, and we eat our words, and we're here to do it. But you don't eat your words as well, man. It's not a two-way street when it comes to you.
I think he would be here, though.
He'd be here, but he's not gonna. He's gonna have another excuse of why things are happening. Oh, it's gonna happen. It's okay.
Self-inflicted.
That's what I'm saying, man. It's all good. It's all good. Again, he was hyping his team last year as well too. What the fuck did they do?
I got the receipts.
Well, we
said
did it
he was gonna be
before.
one
We
and
did it
done in the
before, the
playoffs.
year before,
He was
yeah.
right. He was right. You were one and done in the playoffs.
But he didn't say that shit at the beginning of the year, was he? He wasn't saying that in there. He said that towards the end where he was seeing his team develop.
In the beginning, you're winning 13 games, and then you win 11. You win a division, a bad division.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Oh yeah.
And then you're a 7-point favorite at home in a playoff game, and you got rolled at home. That's not good, right? You went out and did some half decent moves. You lost some key pieces in that locker room. Coaches. It'll be interesting to see what the Eagles are. I don't think the demise is as fast, but it could be.
They still got a lot of talent.
I think that Jalen Hurts could stay there for a long time, or this could be his last year. One of two things: either that offense, Sean Mannion is going to move the ball great, and he's going to lock up. They'll redo his deal or whatever. Because they can get out of it, after this year. So it'll be interesting. If they trade A.J. Brown, you got multiple ones. It's a hell of a draft to have multiple ones to go get yourself a quarterback. Could you imagine if they ended up with Arch Manning? right now ours isn't great, but he's still
he's
projected
again,
to be the number one overall.
You got to develop. I mean, I don't know where everybody kind of expected
yeah.
him to jump in there and just be all pro and everything like that as well too. So you got to watch him develop. You got to give him some time to develop as well too. So. Oh no, I don't. I definitely. I know when my team and the thing about it is these are again things that look like when we're talking about that. This is what looks positive, but it could go negatively very quickly.
I try not to, Drew, but I am a fan too. So.
Yeah.
Rob texted me the other day. He goes, "Nice troll video." That was it. I'm like, I really wasn't trying to troll, but I got to get my shots in when I can.
Oh yeah, we definitely.
But
do.
I try and be very respectful. I do. Especially Jalen. I think I think Jalen gets way too much criticism.
Dude, I used to be one of the most. I hate that I have to defend him now. I just I'm like, oh golly, like
I know
it's just,
the fucking guy. How do you just stop?
Like,
and I put myself in a situation where I hope Dak drives the damn bus. Give me Dak. I need you to drive the bus. I don't need you to do it, but people get offended by that. Dak's no bus driver. I'm like, oh God, I'm not saying. I just said all I need you is to drive the bus.
I need you to occasionally drive a bus. Yep, exactly.
Fucking drive the bus, bro. Anyway,
occasionally, I need you to go sweep it up. Yep.
Let's get it back on the rails. Let's finish her up. Let's get to the other positions that you want to get to.
Yeah, I think. When we were talking about NFC East, man, I'm literally liking. Everybody's going to be something.
I love it.
The first 2 weeks are going to be competitive. Of course, man. You're going to have New York that's going to be dealing with injuries, but again, they have an overall roster that looks really competitive. Their defensive edge rusher. Somehow you need to be able to just. Yeah, we can talk about New York a little bit.
Well, Malik Neighbors is not looking good to start the season, everybody.
And you didn't get that second wide receiver to kind of be like, okay.
You got one later in the draft, but Malik Neighbors
pretty good one.
is not. He had to have a second procedure. I don't care if they say he's going to be ready week 1. He ain't going to be Malik Neighbors week 1. And I'm not saying because we play him. It has nothing to do with Dallas. Leave Dallas aside. We're talking about the Giants. Okay. So, this is where we were talking about, when I had mocked Jordan Tyson at 5 and maybe come back with, the Caleb Downs at 10 or something, to that effect. Go get yourself another receiver. So Malik Neighbors is not stressed out. They did go out in free agency and did there's some moves, but Malik Neighbors, I know Scatterbull will be ready, but okay.
Yeah, Neighbors are going to need, even if he is back, I think he's going to need time to still get into that type of shape. But it's going to be hard to be. It's going to be crazy if he is ready for week 1.
Yeah. Well, this is why I said just pump the brakes on the Giants. I think the Giants are better. Their floor has been lifted.
Better.
They have a bright future, but I don't think they're going to vie for a playoff, especially in year 2 where the whole NFL.
I think as long as your quarterback can stay healthy, I think they definitely have a legit chance. I think they. I really like the team that they built around. Again, your main 2 pieces offensively just need to stop putting their head down and stuff like that. Just kind of, and I understand you want to run some stuff all the time, but it ain't got to be every single play. And so, as long as they can stay healthy, I think they can definitely make a push.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting.
Oh, did you
definitely going to be interesting.
What'd you ask? Sleep Commander. Neighbors not be ready by week 1. Prime, if your Cowboys go 3 straight, no playoffs, will the hell breaking Cowboys Nation at the start? Dude, I've been wanting hell break to loose with us having some success. I wanted it just to be this time where the only way that they were going to do offensive moves, off-season moves, in the sense of free agency, any of that stuff, is that every single time you need to treat him like treat those Joneses like the commissioner and just start booing them. Just really start giving it to them. And that is the only way that they are going to, and I mean, it has to be for a whole year where every single time they make an appearance, it needs to be hard boos. And that is the only way they're going to snap out of that shit. And luckily they at least had some, coaches there that kind of influenced the way that they started doing some stuff. But man, I was already about hell breaking loose with just the 1 year. And it had nothing to do with the 1 year because we could see that coming. But the fact that dude, you got to get out of your own way, man. You know, I know you wanted to be, but guess what? If you have the success, your name is already attached to it. So I think he's finally coming around to seeing some of that stuff. It's just, again, his son is no different. I mean, I just think his son doesn't have as big of balls. Let's just be real. Like, he's just so, like, timid, and, you know, he's not going to go out there and make that splash, you know, unless he's being pressured somehow. So I really fear about that particular part of it.
That's cool. That's cool. Very cool.
But when we're talking about,
I was looking at something.
No. We're talking. I think at least with these roster moves, again, we're going to at least be competitive in the NFC East, be competitive in the NFL. You know, there's some. When you look at the schedule, I think there was a lot of rumor about where we were going to be ranked. Difficulty-wise, I think we talked about on your channel, but I want to definitely bring it up on this channel. How did you feel about the schedule? Do you feel like it's the third or fourth hardest schedule in the NFL?
It's not an easy schedule. That's our
No,
road games are some of it's the toughest road schedule I've seen in a while. It's just what I was talking about. We knew it was going to be tough. It's how it's set up, how they set up Dallas's schedule, where there's a point in the season where Dallas doesn't play a game for 28 days around the bye week. Just how it spaces out with the, you know, so, you know, I think under the circumstances, you play who you play. You start out in Giants in New York, and you open up at home against Washington, okay? And then at the end of the year, you're home against the Giants and at Washington. I think they threw us a bone, starting and ending, you know? So I think it sets up where we can get out to a decent start. We get out to 2-2, I think that's good. Anything worse than that, then you could be in trouble. Anything better than that, then I think Dallas is going to overachieve. So, you know, I like
Lead Commander asks.
Yeah.
Lead Commander asks.
I like
It gets away from the schedule a little bit, but we'll go back. Game Prime, are you happy with your edge rushers and linebackers? Linebackers,
Yes.
obviously, I want. So I still want another one. I still want somebody there, a Balby Wagner type of situation, you know. And I know that's probably not going to be in the cards as well. He's going to end up signing somewhere like the Chargers or something. But you know, I'm not extremely happy with it. But did we improve? Are we using better? Do we got people coming back healthy? You know, there's a lot of question marks, and that's what makes me feel better about it. Edge rushers, at least you made an effort. You didn't get Crosby. I think he would have played on a bad knee for 2 to 3 years, and it would have been made it worth it either way. So you didn't get that elite pass rusher, but you got
Right.
at least a team that can make a difference there. Hopefully with some schemes. So again, a lot that still needs to improve, and I think that's where we have to point out that's why we're trying to shoot for middle of the pack, 20th ranked, you know, that kind of stuff, because, you know, unless the coaching staff is really getting these guys into position to play, you know, you have to strike talent in a lot of spots. So I think, of course, not extremely happy with it, but at least happy with the fact that they at least made some moves where they tried, where they could.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're fine with linebacker now. You say inside linebacker, and we're playing a 3-4, so they'll probably in the nickel you're only going to have 2 linebackers, middle linebackers out there. But let's not forget, we picked up D. Winters and Curtis Robinson from the 49ers, not just one. So we do have Curtis Robinson. Obviously, we have Overshown. We have Justin Barron. And obviously we got Shamar James, who we drafted last year. Maris Leofau, we don't really know where he's going to be. Again, if we're in the nickel, we're totally fine. If we're in a traditional 3-4, well, then that'll be interesting how that works. But then we got guys who are very flexible in Ezeraku, and let's not forget.
I would agree,
Sean
Chris.
Barno.
Yeah, when it comes to linebackers, I would say we have probably the last in the division. I definitely feel like everybody has definitely some talent there. I do like our talent that's there, but it's younger. It still needs to develop a lot. So yeah, I would definitely agree with that.
Could be a beast, and you'll be like, oh my God, him and Overshown are ridiculous. And D. Winters, D. Winters had over 100 tackles last year. The first time he's had a chance to start in the NFL. So Dean Winters is a downhill, a tough-nosed player. So I'm fine with it. Again, if linebacker's my problem, meaning it's the weakest, I'm more worried about our cornerbacks. I told him Phil earlier. I think our safety room was as strongest as I can remember, Phil. Obviously, Caleb Downs is more of the nickel back, right? So it's kind of hard to put him, but let's not forget, you went out and you got a top 10 safety in
Dude,
Jalen
our corners
Thompson.
are not in the last. I don't put our corners in the last at all. I think if anything, we're probably like second when it comes to corners. But
Yeah.
and I still think they're bad. Trust me, I still think they're bad, and they still had a lot to improve because a lot of them have been injured in the past. They're coming off of major injuries at some point, whether it's that year off whole thing, reoccurring injuries. Those are stuff. Even with your starter, Bland, I mean, you turn around
They went out and got Kobe Durant.
and you,
I mean,
you
they
went out and got some
addressed
talent.
it.
Yeah, you went out at least addressed it. Again, is it
So
to
much
solve
so-
all? Is this solve all type of problems? No, but at least you tried something. I mean, again, I need
So
to see
much
the
so
talent
that they kicked
out
the
there.
tires on the guy that's with the Eagles and they turned him down. The guy who
Dory
was with the
Jackson?
Eagles last year. Yeah, Dory Jackson. He came in and worked out and said no. So we have better options than a Dory Jackson. Now he may end up being on the practice, on the training camp roster. But as of now, they said no to Adoree, and I heard a lot of Eagle fans say Adoree wasn't as bad as people said.
Yeah,
But
I
yet
don't
he's
know
not good enough
about
to
that.
to crack.
I think he's pretty bad.
Christian Parker's. Yeah, me too. But like when you're talking about the cornerbacks, we got Ravel, who's the big question, right? Obviously, you got Deron Bland, who's obviously the screw was placed better. You got Kobe Durant, Devin Moore. Let's talk about Devin Moore. A friend of the channel, right? Soon to be a friend of the channel. Well, he's a friend of Phil's, Phil's family. So, Devin Moore. Again, let's not overlook Devin Moore. How good he could potentially be. A 4th-round player, right? Out of the University of Florida. Tall, athletic. The reason why he didn't go higher was why, Phil?
Well, injury history. I mean, everybody liked his play, how fluid he was, how tall he is, being able to recover. You're gonna see some of even some of his plays where he was able to make some interceptions. He was able to recover where he was out of position, or not necessarily out of position, or the offense was flowing one way. You know how everybody kind of starts to flow that way and then comes back. But when you're looking at Bland, for example, as your number 1, Durant as your number 2, Ravel, and them trying to come back from injuries to be something, I think those are the pieces that you're looking at. I mean, Bland, again, as much as people want to rip on him, and I have my moments where I rip on him as well too. I mean, I think people tend to forget he definitely was leading the league in interceptions, returns, receptions, being able to break on balls. And yeah, I mean, as any corner in the league, he gets beat at times. But I really like the fact that they were able to keep at least one of the two in the sense of Diggs and Bland. I still need to see Bland kind of just stay healthy and be available all the time. Durant, I really like the fact that they added that piece. A guy that can do a lot of the zone coverage as well, was able to show that. So at least you got 2 solid pieces there. Need to stay healthy. Again, the big key factor, need to stay healthy, because if you're not available and you're rotating people in and out, and some people play better outside, play inside, it's going to be kind of a mess. And that's where you're hoping that pass rush is really going to help out. But again, at least you went out there and got a piece that looks pretty solid in the sense of Durant. I wasn't a big fan of Kendrick coming in here. I thought he was a very big liability. In anything that I've seen him in the past. So again, they did improve. A lot still. Again, what Bryan mentioned before, a lot needs to come together. The potential's there in the sense of where you drafted them, where they could have been this, they could have been that. Well, we still need to see them available. We still need to see that out in the field. And again, I think Drew points out something that is tough. These aren't Christian Parker type of guys, or they're not their guys because you didn't draft them. So those are the ones those in-between guys are going to be on your roster that you're hoping that you find a role for, or they're being able to fill in the roles that you're asking them to do. So I think that's the question marks, which is understandable, but not as near as many question marks as a lot of the secondary was having last year, as they were looking at each other with big ass question marks over their head, like, "Oh, I thought they were doing the Spider-Man thing," where they're like, "Yeah, I thought you." No, in the sense of pointing each other. I thought you were going to be back there.
Okay.
I thought you.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't even know. So, but anyway, so when it comes to some of the offensive pieces coming back, of course, Pickens being a big one, do you see him being a distraction in the offseason, or do you see him putting his head forward and just doing his thing?
No, he's not going to be there until training camp. I mean, he may show up, but that's fine. Again, no, I think he's going to be on his best behavior this year. That's what I think.
I think so too. I think there's going to be some moments, and again, there's going to be moments where he's going to be George Pickens. He's going to have his George Pickens moments where he's getting all fussy butt on the side and doing a pout or taking something on the field where he does a little bit too much extra. His extra celebrating is really what always kind of makes me feel weird, because I'm like, he's going to get flagged. He's going to get flagged. There's going to pushing through the defensive guys to try to do his move and stuff like that. I think those are the things. Those are those ones where you're like, you need to kind of be able to shed that stuff off if you're going to be getting max money, especially because you look at guys like Tyreek Hill, not in the league right now. You look at other guys, who was it, Diggs as well too, not in the league right now. Who's another wide receiver? I think there's another wide receiver that's out there that nobody's picked up. I think there's a couple of them as well too. But those problems.
There's a bunch of players out there.
There's some problem ones where you're like, okay, you're not worth the headache anymore that you cause. And so again, you're right there on that. The moment that if you don't get your shit together and you start getting your reputation better, you could be in that category of those guys that they cause a little bit more problems than they're worth.
Yeah, definitely.
So Bryan, any particular subject you want to jump on? I think we covered the offseason and how it's gone.
We nailed it, man. I think we did good. I can't believe we went over an hour and a half already. But yeah, I think we did good. I think now let's let the whole team is meeting in a mini camp, the veterans and the rookies, and then let's go from there. I'm curious to see if they're going to add anybody else before training camp, but from what we hear, they like their roster a lot. They've upgraded in a lot of areas. They have to come together.
Yeah,
but everybody sees the talent that they've added.
They definitely added talent, and I know
the best player. Yeah,
and I know Cowboy fans will tell you it's like we definitely could have been done a lot better in the sense of but if you're bringing your guys. I really want to see it kind of start to come together. The training camps, seeing some of that footage. Again, I was pointing out last year, it's like, yeah, you see the offense doing amazing, but nobody's questioning that the defense just got burnt on that play. So I think those are the things that you got to, as every positive play, you got to look at the other side, whether it's defensive. Oh, we got an interception. Well, why did he get it? Was the guy rushing? Was the guy pushing? Was it the offensive line not doing stuff? Was it Dak not seeing that guy drop back from the edge rushing position? There's a lot of question marks because for every good, there's a bad. And so I think that's what you got to analyze when you're looking at this team overall and whether you're going to get hyped in behind him. So, Bryan, I appreciate you taking time on this Sunday at 12, kind of getting ourselves ready, kind of pushing it like an NFL Sunday. But anyways, I appreciate you joining on. Looks like we got some new people as well going to be joining.
Yes, thank you, everybody. Appreciate you.
Yeah, and I appreciate even the trash talking, man. Trust me, you should have your doubts. You should be able to push those narratives as well, too, because, hey, it's been a long time for us Cowboys. But, again, I think as well, Bryan, I will pass you the Kool-Aid as soon as I'm done here because I am definitely loving the flavor this year. So appreciate you, Bryan, coming through. And anything you want to say to the folks?
Yeah, well, we got Tuesday. I have Philly 500 on my channel, so that'll be fun. I'll bring on a few of the Zoom crew people, not the whole Zoom crew, and we'll have a talk. Then Thursday, I'm bringing back the NFC East Clash. So I'll have that. As of now, I have Louis T with the Commanders is coming on. I have Mike Tagg representing the Cowboys. I'm still looking for a Giants content creator. I had Cop Pizzle, but he's not available this particular week. So maybe down the line, he will be on the show. And I have an Eagle. The return of Leo, the bird section, will represent the Eagles. So that should get spicy. So he reached out to me. I reached out to him. So that's what we got. Still working on a Giants guy, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, man. Looking forward to it, man. We're picking it up. I know I'm going to be pushing for weekly content as well, too, as we're kind of going through. Because, hey, man, just be real, man. There's constantly stuff to talk about, and it doesn't always have to be the Cowboys. NFL coverage is what we are doing here. So I appreciate you not forgetting about us. But one thing I appreciate you not forgetting to do.
Ring that bell.
Ring that bell, everyone. You guys take care.
Hey, we know each other. He's a friend from work.
What you do, you're like a little screw loose type of guy, and I thought that's how I am. So I'm digging it, big guy. I am.
Who are you?
You.
No, not me, you.
Yes, I am you.
Just answer the damn questions. Who are you?
Gametime Bryan, otherwise known as the mailman here.
Cool name. Superpowers?
I don't know what it is yet, but it could be a lot of things.
Come on, are you gonna tell me who that is?
Primetime Phil, and of course my co-host, Gametime Bryan.
Oh, Jesus Christ, this place is going to explode. $100,000, I don't even need to hear it.